On this episode of Making the Game, this summer's must-see movie,
Sam Raimi took what I had written and he turned it into a masterpiece.
Becomes this year's must-have game.
The moves that Spidey has compared to the first game is just ridiculous.
I couldn't believe it was a video game. I thought I was looking at a movie, Spidey 3.
As Spider-Man takes the Big Apple for a spin.
I think it's pretty cool because if you're a fan of the movie, you get to go live it.
Plus an exclusive look at the Spider-Man 2 video game.
This is my story. It's the usual thing. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy meets another girl. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Hi, I'm Tobey Maguire, a.k.a. Spider-Man.
Hi, I'm Stan Lee, co-creator of Spider-Man. Let's talk about the video game. I gotta tell you, I just saw it. I couldn't believe it was a video game. Anybody who likes the movie, and that includes the whole human race, has to go crazy about this video game. It has the same special effects, the same movement, the same action, the same realism. Oh man, I was knocked out when I saw that video game.
It's just a great game, especially in comparison to the last one. This one is free roaming. You can look at all of Manhattan and go anywhere you see on the map, or you can go to the top of all the buildings. I mean, it's unbelievable. When I was playing around with it, the moves that Spidey has compared to the first game is just ridiculous. It's perfect. It's Spider-Man. You're a superhero, and you've got to go fight regular crime and supervillains. I think it's pretty cool because if you're a fan of the movie, you get to go live it. You know what I mean? Be in it.
To ask me if I'm happy with the Spider-Man movie is like saying, do you enjoy breathing? I am ecstatic because Sam Raimi took what I had written, 50 years ago or something like that, and he made it seem even better than I think it was. He turned it into a masterpiece.
Peter Parker is feeling like he's pulled in every direction. He's got 2 jobs, he goes to school. He's doing a Spider-Man thing. He feels a certain sense of pride and duty and responsibility about being Spider-Man. But I think all of these things are just tearing him apart because he also wants to enjoy his life and he can't find the right balance. The supervillain is Doc Ock, Otto Octavius, played by Alfred Molina.
Doc Ock started off as a brilliant scientist who finds a way to create energy. And he sees this as his great contribution to mankind. And in the process of trying to demonstrate it, it all goes terribly wrong.
I always thought that Doc Ock would be the best villain cinematically for Spider-Man. It has mechanical arms and they're super strong and they're linked right to his brain so he controls them as if they're extensions of his body.
What makes Doc Ock a great villain is the fact that he is devoted to evil, like all good villains should be.
From the comic books and from the movies is all great source material to just pile into the video game. And I think you have a big crossover, people who like video games and people who like these comics and this movie and stuff. So I think it lends itself to a video game perfectly.
What we created was essentially what's going to be the first free-roaming superhero game ever. We've been working with Treyarch on the first movie-based game. They were such a natural fit to do the sequel. So, given the experience, given the collaboration with Sony Pictures and knowing how to make a superhero game, they were a natural fit. Treyarch is a developer that's owned by Activision, but they retain separate offices. They kind of keep a very independent spirit to them.
The biggest differences from Spider-Man 2 from Spider-Man 1 is the new swinging system. We've created an open gameplay environment. You get to play in all of Manhattan. And we've integrated the story into the daily life of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2 is non-linear and allows the gamers to really choose how to play the game, whether they want to follow the storyline approach or solve random crimes. It's really up to them. He's the perfect hero. The responsibility to protect Manhattan and solve crime is huge, and it allows for some tremendous gameplay opportunities that I think has been really fun to exploit in this game. He does everything from help normal citizens, defeat bank robbers, to following the traditional movie plot points of the feature film. Doc Ock is the primary villain in the main story arc of the game and in the feature film, but we've added some other villains such as Black Cat.
Whoa there, mighty one. Take a deep breath.
Mysterio.
People of New York, I am Mysterio.
Rhino, and a couple others to really help diversify the gameplay and add more action for a lot of the gamers out there. I think Spider-Man 2 raises the bar for superhero games in general and delivers, I think, that first free-roaming superhero game that people are just going to be blown away when they see it.
Hi, I'm Tomo Moriwaki, and I'm the creative director on the Spider-Man 2 project. When it came to making this game, our goals really revolved around revolutionizing the Spider-Man experience for the players. As you can see, we have a whole new system where the web's actually attached to buildings, and a whole new physics system that allows extremely realistic motion happening in the player.
When we set out making Spider-Man 2, we really wanted the player to feel like Spider-Man, that they could do anything the Spider can. They could swing from building to building, they could jump from building to building, they can crawl from building to building, they can do anything. We hand keyframed everything in the game. There's no motion capture because the moves just aren't your everyday moves you see. So even if we did mocap someone swinging through the city, it may not look like he's really swinging through the city. You kind of need to take it above and beyond that. We've been working on the game now for close to 3 years, and we still have fun swinging around the city.
It's really hard to talk about swinging if you're not going to also talk about this environment. Spider-Man isn't just a unique superhero. He also lives in a unique environment. New York is unlike any city on Earth as far as the density of skyscrapers and how many tall buildings are all crammed close to each other. You really need that environment for Spider-Man to be everything he's going to be.
We broke it down to grid because due to the massive size of the city, we couldn't actually fit the entire game into the memory all at once. We started with a 2D map where we roughly tried to create a New York. From there, we actually built the first 3D model, a very rough version of the city. Then we go into a detailed version where we actually break down the city of Blank to very specific building heights. We also start building the interiors of that storefronts, and we build it directly into the city so that when you play, there's no load time. You can actually walk straight from exterior and swing straight into the interior right away. So here we have is a model of Daily Bugle and as well as surrounding buildings. And from here on, you can actually go inside Daily Bugle. So from that point on, we're going to pass this on to our texture artist.
This is actually one of the 3D textures which we've been creating for this project. We actually created a bunch of materials, concretes, bricks, whatever, applied them to this, set up the lighting to actually map onto surfaces. We created all of these so that we could unify all of our lights instead of trying to paint and kind of guess exactly how the lighting was supposed to fit on the surface. All of this takes a lot of memory, and this was our first project where we had a city of this magnitude.
So as you can see, there's a Central Park on one end of the island looking all the way down to like a Statue of Liberty if you look far enough. It's amazing to realize that everything you see out there is someplace you can go and someplace you can reach right now and in a very exciting and dynamic way.
Up next on Making the Game, meet a real player.
I come into work and play Spider-Man 8 hours a day.
And the ones behind the game.
They're working 16 hours a day to get stuff out.
We're just trying to really build the story.
Plus an exclusive look at the Spider-Man 2 video game.
I'm Tim Miller. I'm the creative director and one of the founders of Blur Studio. So in this case, we got boards from Activision, and they give us enough information in the boards to sort of tell us, what's going on. So first we get these boards, and sometimes there's some back and forth about scope of work with the client, but once we decide, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what Spider-Man's going to do, I hand it off to one of our guys who does layout or animatics.
When I get the storyboards from Tim or whoever the creative director is in the project, I'll start blocking out my shots, and this is what we call animatics. It is a 3D version of the storyboards where we see the motion, we see everything happen. Really simply, just to get an idea of the basic action and really build the story, because this is where the story happens. It's like, if we put in these shots, does it make sense? And when it does, we've done our job by making that story progress from shot to shot. This is the first cinematic that we did, and it opens with Spider-Man starting out in the flagpole. So I put in the camera and sort of developed a shot. And with this real simple geometry and just a simple Spider-Man model here, we can just get an idea of what he does and how the shot progresses. And as you can see, it's really simple, just enough to sort of get an idea of what happens. And I go through the basic camera motion. The most important thing, in my opinion, is just to hit the major poses, because that's what the animator is going to use to get a feel for what happens in each shot. From this point on, we'll send it over to the character modelers. They will take the rough animatics that I have, and they will fine-tune it into the final models that will be used in the actual render.
Rigging specialist is the person that takes the model from the modeling side of things, puts it onto a skeleton, and makes it animatable for the animators. I will build the skeleton to fit inside the mesh, basically putting the actual pivots where they should be. You know, right in the middle of the shoulder, right in the middle of the knee, right in the middle of the hips. And then basically I'll just take it through motions like this, and I'll just drag it through and watch and see how it deforms. If it's not deforming correctly, it'll stand out like a sore thumb. It was important to get his hands to look good because he's got to really tweak his hand back. He's got to really pull his fingers forward. It's got to look pretty cool. It's that classic, Spider-Man kind of. And then that gets handed off to the animators. What the animators will actually animate is this.
Hi, I'm Jeff Weisand. I'm animation supervisor for Spider-Man 2 for Activision. All right, so here's Spider-Man with his animatable skeleton. And let's say we need to shift the position of that leg. Well, we can grab onto it and pull it down like this. We rotate his head around to look more towards us. Like that. So once we've done the animation, we can see it here, cut together with the rest of the shots.
Basically what we do with scene assembly is I take all the elements that were created by different artists within the studio. We put them together in sort of a different composition, which is called compositing. For example, this here would be what we call an ambient pass on the environment. It's basically when the sun streams into an environment. If it was just the sunlight, we'd see that with black all over the place. Basically what happens in real life is that light then bounces around and fills up the rest of the environments. And then when we combine the two together, we get what looks like that. After everything's put together, we basically have the final piece with little cars and little people walking all over the place and all the layers added together, and we get the final shot.
Always at the end of a project, I usually do that final check on things, and you find stuff that people may have forgotten to do or that slip through the cracks because they're working 16 hours a day to get stuff out. An example of one of those, it's hard to see, but for some reason there's a little render aberration, and one of the crowd people disappears for a frame. He just pops out. And it's up there. It catches your eye. Sometimes guys roll their eyes when I give them these notes, but enough of them, and it adds up to a little lowering of the bar, and we don't like to do that. We like to keep everything, as pristine as possible.
My name's Kyle Carey, and I play Spider-Man 2 for a living. My title is Quality Assurance Tester. It means that I test the quality of all Activision games, look for bugs in games, and we try to make the game better. I went to school for computer science, and when I moved to Hollywood, I knew that there was such a position as testing video games, and I looked into it, and I put it in a resume, and then like 3 months later, I got a call in, had a couple of interviews, and then a month or two after that, I was in.
Kyle is a game freak. The fact that he made a career out of it is pretty amazing to me.
I've been playing video games for a long time, probably since Apple II. I have a lot of systems, everything from like Intellivision to like the latest PlayStation 2. Started getting into like arcade cabinets, got a pinball machine. I get up about 6:50 in the morning, take a shower, get into work hopefully between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, and start plugging away, testing. 8 hours of just looking at the game. If you ever play the first Spider-Man, it's a lot different. It's a definite improvement on the first one. I mean, for one thing is that the game is a completely open map, and it's almost like full scale. Like, just swing through the whole thing. Pretty amazing how much freedom you have in the game. As much as I've played it, I do enjoy it. There's always something to do. They put a lot in the game to do. I'd say you do feel like Spider-Man when you're playing this game. I mean, you can do all the moves, you know, he can do. It's just like you're flying through the city as a Spider-Man. When it comes down to crunch time, we'll be as late as like 1 a.m. here. Right now we're working 6 days a week. There's just a constant cycle of testers in here, day and night. And we can go sometimes 10 at night, 1 in the morning. It is just work. It isn't that much fun.
What always blows me away is that he goes to work for 8 hours and plays video games, and then he comes home and plays video games.
Sometimes I go home and I do play video games. I admit that. Playing games at work is work. Playing games at home is fun.
Coming up on Making the Game, swing into the studio with Spider-Man.
Fate handed me amazing powers.
You have no hope of hurting me.
And the Distillers put a new twist on an old tune.
I like the original song, but we didn't really want to do that, so we made it a little darker.
Plus an exclusive look at the Spider-Man 2 video game.
Hi, my name is Tom Hayes. I'm the audio director at Treyarch, and I oversaw the sound and music for Spider-Man 2, the game. The voiceover cast was incredible on this game. We had Tobey Maguire reprising his role as Spider-Man. We had Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. We had Kirsten Dunst doing Mary Jane.
I have a lot of fun doing that. It's different than making movies, that's for sure. There's like a huge, thick script. It's fun, you know? It's like fun, witty stuff. Some of it's kind of silly, but it's cool to be involved in that process.
So imagine a montage every time there's a shot of something on screen and then you deliver, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Here we go.
This is my story. It's the usual thing. A struggling student working his way through college, in love with the girl next door.
I took precautions this time. Using the harmonic fields of my tentacles, I can generate an impenetrable shield.
Well, I suppose it does have an unusual...
Cool, and maybe one where you sound a little more pleased with yourself.
Okay.
Well, I suppose it does have an unusual twist. You see, fate handed me amazing powers.
You have no hope of hurting me. I, on the other hand, will have no difficulty hurting you.
Surprise! Birthday party. You come to, Peter removes the bow and opens the box that Mary Jane has just given you. He holds his present, which is a scarf.
Thanks, MJ. I'll wear it to your new play.
Good, a little more thankful.
A little more thankful.
Yeah.
I'm a guy, you get a scarf, you kind of bounce
It's
off it,
a
you know what I mean?
special scarf.
What? Say that again. Oh my.
It's all that classical training, you know.
The theme song for Spidey, you know, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. That was written 1,000,000 years ago.
And we were lucky enough to have the Distillers do a special version of the Spider-Man theme song from the old TV show from the 60s.
But that thing caught on so. Everybody loves it. And now, of course, part of the game, the video game, I wish to hell I had written those lyrics. I didn't.
The lyrics for the song are the same, and the music is completely different. They have made it their own completely. It's very punk rock.
Hi, I'm Brody Dahl from the Distillers, and we are doing a cover version for Spider-Man 2 for the video game. And like the other night, I practiced, and we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do it. And I like the original song, but us doing the version is kind of hokey. You know what I mean? The Ramones did it really well, but we didn't really want to do that, so we made it a little darker. Music is important to video games because it intensifies, I think, the whole experience. It just puts you in the driver's seat a little more, I think, you know?
I think it's pretty cool to be asked to do this because, I don't know, I was a comic book fan, so Tony's really into Spider-Man.
I think we all watched Spider-Man when we were a kid. I was a big Spider-Man fan when I was a kid, so it's pretty cool.
I'm about to sing the Spider-Man song for you all, so I hope you hate it. Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web in his size, catches seeds just like life. Look out, there comes the Spider-Man. Look out, there comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there, there goes the Spider-Man. Hey there, there goes the Spider-Man. The chill of the night, the skin of the crown like a street. He arrived just in time. Wow! There goes the Spider-Man. Hey there, there goes the Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, feeling every Spider-Man. Welcome fame, easy road. Action is his work. Life is a great big thing. Never has a hang. You find a Spider-Man.
I was in Japan. I went to the sumo wrestlers train. Behind me, I hear a guy go, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. And I turn around, and it's the champion sumo wrestler of Japan, all 650 pounds of him. He had recognized me, and he knew the Spider-Man song, and he was singing it in his own way. I will never forget that.